Mm.
And, you know, society teaches us to do that at a young age through the commercials that we watch,
That's
through
right.
the TV that we watch, through magazines that's telling us, what our bodies should look like, or, what our hair should look like, or, it's always telling you that something is always better instead of
Mm.
just accepting yourself for who you are. I mean, no one's going to be perfect. Even the person that you think is perfect, they think that they have 10,000 flaws.
That's right. No,
you
you're
know?
right. I've
Yeah.
heard that.
So, when you have the negative self-talk, it can create a subconscious belief that you're not good enough. And the subconscious part of our brain is actually what controls our actions and our
Mm.
behavior. So it's really important to protect your subconscious part of your brain. And so usually, I'll be honest with you, the negative self-talk doesn't necessarily just go away. I've been doing this for a very long time. It doesn't go away. But when it tries to come, when I feel myself getting into that mood, I have to be able to come back in and I have to just stop it. And
Mm.
so I was reading this book, and I can't remember the name of the book, but I was reading this book and it was talking about this negative self-talk. And she said, whenever you feel yourself getting in that mode of telling yourself really bad things, just remind yourself that you're just a little bunny and that you're trying to find your way. And, for some reason that makes me giggle. And so whenever the negative thoughts come, I just tell myself, Jay, you're just a little bunny and you're just trying to find your way. And it just really gives me the visualization of a little bunny. And I can't help but to smile. And everything just goes away at that point.
Two thoughts come to mind when you talk about that.
Uh-huh.
One, I don't know, there's a commercial many years ago where the small girl climbs up on the kitchen, or not on the kitchen, but a bathroom sink. She looks at herself in the mirror. She's got this Shirley Temple curly hair, and she talks into the mirror and says, "You are this, and you are this, and you are this." And they're all positive things. And the basis of the commercial was if I remember right, was just these positive affirmations for yourself. And so that comes back to this thing about positive affirmations. I've been reading a lot lately from a lot of my friends, a lot of people in my nutrition company, in leadership, is starting the day with these positive affirmations.
Right.
If it's looking in the mirror or meditating or whatever it may be, and saying, you know what, I am blessed, I am this, I am that, and just looking at all the possible good things. And as even if you start small, I think that builds, and then that works on, you start believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I'm a big believer in affirmations. To a lot of people out there that feel that it's stupid to to say these really good and powerful things, there's a lot of studies on this out there, and I would advise you to check them out. But affirmations are real, and telling yourself good things is definitely real. And actually, that was my second tip, Stephen. After the first one is you have to stop talking negative to yourself. But the second is you have to tell yourself good things. And what we have to do is we have to, think of our minds as soil. And you have to think of yourself as, someone that's planting different seeds. And so every time you tell yourself something, whether it's good or whether it's bad, you are going to bear a fruit. Okay? So you have to think about what type of fruit you want to bear. Do you want to bear positive? Do you want to bear something that's negative? And so what I want people to realize is that we have the power to actually control what grows out of our soil, in other words. And so if you know that you have the power, it gives people the ability to say, okay, I am not going to allow the negative I'm personally not going to plant a negative seed in my soil. I'm going to plant a positive seed. And using those affirmations, telling yourself really positive things on a daily basis, if you can do it twice a day, once when you wake up or once right before you go to sleep, subconsciously, your brain, I'm telling you, your brain believes whatever you put in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing because they don't tell us these things growing up. And, this should be a part of curriculum for kids, for everyone. I think everybody should know the power that they possess to make good, positive things happen for themselves.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think those are things that definitely need to be part of a curriculum in school, is these things that you're talking about, because it's I found, of course, my school experience was, growing up for me, it was having, the red hair, the light skin, freckles, and kind of a roly-poly kid. And, some of those things, and coming back to, you hear a lot about how do we stop bullying, kids in school. And I think that is part of that is, these positive affirmations, not only for you, but for others, to look at somebody else and say, hey, they're special. One of the things that was a real takeaway for me back when I first became involved with the Center of Hope was, I remember we would have this time, like a meditation time before, we opened up for the patrons. And the executive director at the time said, I want each and every one of you to look at this, what she said, this word, the intrinsic value of every human being. And boy, that was powerful for me, because each and every person is unique. They're put on this earth for a purpose, and some go astray. And how can we help them come back to a place where they feel good about themselves, they feel accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have to bring it back. And that was a really good choice of words that she used. I like that.
I did too, because it's, a unique, one of a kind, special, there's nobody else that was before you or after you. You are the one of the kind.
Because it's true.
You're the one of the kind, special person. One of the things that you also said, Jay, was, what can you do when you need to stand out from all the rest? And the reason that really piques my interest, because there are a lot of coaches out there saying they're the best. There are a lot of entrepreneurs saying, follow me. This is the coach to follow. So, as I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, wow, as I saw that, okay, I need to hear from you. What does it take? What does it take for Jaunai Walker to stand out from all the rest? What does it take for Stephen Bryant to stand out from all the rest?
Well, the first tip I will give you is, if you are in person or on stage with someone, or even on camera, these tips will definitely work in that particular scenario. And then the next tip, I'm going to show you how to stand out by always being phenomenal, awesome, and great. So for the first set, when you're face-to-face or on camera or on stage, the one thing that you have to do is you have to always show up. And I know that sounds really basic to a lot of people, but I'm going to tell you it's not so basic to a lot, because you will find that a lot of people don't show up. And if you show up, you're already 80% there. So one of the ways that you can definitely, stand out is look and act the part. How you show up physically is just as important as how you show up mentally. Your appearance will go well beyond, the other things as well. But, you want to show up wearing your confidence, or as the kids say, and I think the kids still say this, I'm not sure, but they say the word swag all the time. So you always want to show up wearing your swag, right? So always come, because when I don't know if you're familiar with Deion Sanders or not. Do you watch?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know Dion. Yeah.
Deion Primetime, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember, but maybe about 10 or maybe 15 years ago, he had his own show. And the first time I ever watched his show was right before I got into medical sales. And he was riding around on his little scooter in his $1 million mansion. And he was either telling his wife or his kids, he's like, listen, if you don't look good, you don't feel good. If you don't feel good, you don't sell good. If you don't sell good, you don't live good, right? I was like, oh my God, I got to look good everywhere I go. And so I've carried that mentality to always show up dressed for the part. All right. So that'll help. It sounds basic, but believe you me, a lot of people, they don't show up. The next part that a lot of people struggle with is eye contact. Okay. Eye contact is so important because it can determine whether you have, the personality of someone with integrity or you don't. It's just one of those things that's like one of those really old, things that people look for when they're trying to determine if this is a person that they should trust. And people, no matter if you're a coach or, no matter if you're an entrepreneur, people want to do business with who they trust. So if you can use your eye contact to establish that level of trust with the person that you're meeting with, you will stand out really fast. The other part is your body language. Body language is really important because there's this technique called mirroring. And I'm not sure if you've heard of that, Stephen. But
yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Mirroring is very important when you are trying to connect. You used the word connect before. So when you are really trying to connect with someone, you want to make them feel as if you relate to them. Okay. Like you're relatable. The easiest way to do that is to mimic them. Okay. Mimic their body posture. If they sit back, you sit back. If they lean forward, you lean forward. If they cross their arms, you cross their arms. What you're telling them is that you understand where they're coming from, and
you're affirming what they're,
yes.
You're affirming their language, even though it's body language. You're affirming what they're saying by, like you saying, mimic. Yeah.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah, and it works, and it really works. And if I could go back, because when I was talking about eye contact, I missed my big point on this, and I use this in all of my speeches, and I always tell the audience to use what they call sticky eyes. Are you familiar with sticky eyes?
I've never heard of sticky eyes before. No, that's a new one to me.
Sticky eyes. Sticky eyes is very important. It's very similar to the mirroring technique, but sticky eyes is being able to give that type of eye contact to where you are not weirdly fixated on their eyes. I mean, you don't want to be weird about it, because I think
I was just going to say that, because when you're talking about eye contact, I thought, I don't want to be staring down that person.
No,
I'm glad you're explaining that.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be like weirdly staring them down. But believe me, when you have a really good point that you want to make, or you're answering an important question to your customer or your client, you want to make sure that your eyes are fixated on theirs. So that way they know that what you're saying is honest and truthful, because it goes back to the building of the trust. So if you can learn to practice the sticky eyes and the mirroring, you are already ahead of the game, because those are things that amateurs or a lot of other people, they don't know about, or they just don't do. And so it immediately, subconsciously in the other person puts you as a front runner. So that's how you stand out.
Oh, wow. That's something. So, wow. So, yeah, there's some new and good things I'm learning from you tonight.
I know they sound a little crazy, but they work.
Yeah. So if, they're proven methods, these are definitely ways to be looking at that. One of the other things that you mentioned is one thing you can do to get what you want out of any meeting So
yeah.
talk to
Well,
me.
the one thing that